As babies, we learn to eat with our hands. However, as we get older, the expectation is that we use cutlery properly. This is a task that is difficult when you have not observed others. I would like to demonstrate some of the techniques that we use at New College Worcester to make students comfortable, aware and precise with eating techniques. Hand position is very important while eating. Ensure the student has enough space so that they are able to locate and cut the food comfortably. The position of the fingers are right down the knife, with the fork pointing towards the plate. The other fingers are wrapped around the knife and fork and act as locators. The locators identify the size, shape and temperature of the food and mean that the student can reposition their food as desired. Ensure that the meat to be cut is positioned at 12 o'clock. This may mean rearranging the plate. When the plate is at 12 o'clock, then the student can use the fork as a guide for the knife. Position the fork in the food. Run the knife down the finger and onto the fork tines. Then push the knife into the food, cutting and sawing at the same time. The student then brings the fork up to the mouth without them having to bring their mouth down to the plate. With the fork in the same position as for cutting, rotate the fork around. Turn it and move the fingers up the tines. Position the fork next to the food and then use the knife to horizontally move the food onto the fork tines. Use the finger to identify the food on there and bring it up to the mouth. In the following section, we'll be looking at some common eating problems and some simple solutions. Some visually impaired students have tactile sensitivity and hold their knives and forks at the very end. To eat independently, they have to hold the knife and fork so that they have control over them. The fork hand position requires the index finger to point down the tines while the other fingers wrap around the base of the fork to enable location. The knife hand position needs the index finger to run down the blade while the other fingers work on locating. Students can sometimes feel that they bring food that is too large or too small to their mouth. Use the finger that is on the fork as feedback, identifying whether there is too much or too little on there. Also try turning the fork around to get more feedback. Students get embarrassed when eating if they bring a fork to their mouth and it's empty. Once is fine. It is identifying and knowing that there isn't anything on the fork that is important. Use the finger to ensure that there is something on the fork. When a student cuts food up, one part will be attached to the fork, while the other part may go missing. The student can make the missing food a point of reference by identifying where it is with one of the knife fingers, or just find it again when they try for the next forkful. And remember, it's best to keep the meat at 12 o'clock. We also recommend moving food from the edge of the plate to the centre, to then bring it onto the tines and up to the mouth.
If you'd like more information about how to support a visually impaired student, we hold free events throughout the year to mainstream professionals. These events offer practical support and advice on how you can include visually impaired students in your lessons. They are suitable for teachers, TAs and parents of a visually impaired student. These events are run throughout the academic year, with dates and booking available from our website.